Race 5 at Belmont jumps at 3:03. It's the Ken Dyson 80th birthday handicap over 1,300 metres, and we'll have a look at the most recent performance of City Circle.
Texas Moon on the improve. Finally, French Fred Dag getting to the outside, and then came Distant Trilogy as they turn from Pearl Trade, and well back is Akiko. Straightening up inside the 250. Fred Dag is coming with a good run down the outside, so is Distant Trilogy, and trying to battle on his state attorney. Then Aldi La. It's Distant Trilogy after Fred Dag. Pearl Trade running on as well. Fred Dag tackled by Distant Trilogy. Distant Trilogy going home better, and Distant Trilogy has won.
This was just a bit of a nightmare watch for backers of City Circle their last start. The horse jumped well, was ridden with intent early, but ended up handing up the lead and then just got stuck behind some tiring runners in the straight. It was really bolting, but just had nowhere to go whatsoever. But if you go back so far, this horse's preparation, it's been incredibly consistent. The figures it's been recording have been very good indeed, and it should handle tempo and get into a lovely spot from the gate. So it's clearly the horse to beat for me. From the 7, a bit sketchy. There was a bit of money floating around for this horse there last start, and it improved out of sight. It ended up just a little bit too far back and running, but it was clearly one of the strongest horses coming wide into the straight. And I think this race again just looks to be quite suitable. I'm not sure there's a whole heap of speed up front, so if they do slow down mid-race, it will give horses like a bit sketchy a best chance to flow into the race. Third pick is the 14, La Bionda, who again, another horse that should be back in the field. Last start we saw it jumped well, was restrained back before just being eased around with a bit of cover wide, and it was just under a bit of a hold there on the turn. It was basically jogging, and once it got into the straight it really picked up late. It's coming into this race with the best last start figure, so I have to respect the horse off that. And then fourth pick is the 11, which is Carheelan. It's a horse that obviously will be well found, I'm sure, with Willie Pike jumping on board, and it was doing its best work late there. It recorded the fastest 200, last 200 of the day, but also the second fastest last 800 and last 600. So the horse has returned in good order. On top in race 5 is 12, City Circle, 7, a bit sketchy, 14, La Bionda, and 11, Carheelan. Race 6 at Belmont jumps at 3:38. It's the Amelia Park handicap over 1,600 metres, and we'll have a look at the last start win of Mrs. Brown's Boy.
To get on equal terms at the top of the straight. They're a length and a half now. 2 clear. They've quickened from Maginica. Friar Fox is starting to let down very well. Further back, Battle Talk and Mystery Miss still about 4 from the leader. Mrs. Brown's Boy at the 150. Shook off Nawadaroo, Maginica, Friar Fox, Battle Talk. Mrs. Brown's Boy giving. Mrs. Brown's Boy holds on. Battle Talk dives late. Oh, I don't think so, Mrs. Brown's Boy.
Have plenty of time for this gelding, but he seems to have hit that purple patch, and once he's fully fit, he just is able to keep winning time and time again. So again, he's a pretty strong on-speed galloper. He will appreciate any sting out of the track. The distance looks ideal, and he's been recording some really good figures the last couple of starts. So with Alan Kennedy jumping on board and piloting the horse, I'm going to go with him on top at just that little bit more of a price. From the 1, Battle Talk, who, when he teams up with Willie Pike, is just an outstanding proposition. They've got a tremendous record together. The horse last start was obviously racing in the Hyperion, so he was up against some more seasoned and more credentialed gallopers. But look, Battle Talk has still been recording good figures, especially over the concluding stages over the last 400. So for me, those are the 2 to beat. Third pick is the 3, the Velvet King, who has to be a bit of a query, just given that he was coming off that real heavy track behind Great Again. The horse just seemed to be racing flat after that real gut-busting first-up performance against Special Reward, and I just have to wonder whether or not he's actually come back in the last couple of starts as fit and as happy as he wants to be. The step up to 1,600 metres does look a little bit of a query as such. And then fourth pick is a 6, Lord Help Me Run, who was a dominant winner there last start. He landed in a perfect spot, but I imagine just in terms of prices, he'll be a little bit shorter than my top 2 picks, but it's hard to fault that winning form, and the horse has come back into career best form. On top in race 6 is the 2, Mrs. Brown's Boy, from 1, Battle Talk, 3, the Velvet King, and 6, Lord Help Me Run. Race 7 at Belmont jumps at 4:31. It's the Doug Gardner Memorial Handicap over 1,400 metres, and we'll have a look at the most recent performance of Settlers Creek.
From Yeah Daddy, Great Again. He's coming through in the centre very nicely indeed. Candlelight Star is tracking him. And then came Military Ruler. Further back, Settlers Creek. War God in front. On the outside, Great Again is after War God, and then Candlelight Star. War God is still in front though. Great Again can't get there. War God in front. He won the Bolton Sprint last year. He's going to win the last today. War God, he loves this day. War God.
I thought it was a really good performance there from Settlers Creek last start. The horse jumped well, was shuffled back through the field, Came the widest in the straight in conditions that aren't particularly suitable for the horse. It can handle soft, but just not as wet as what it was during that race. But it still recorded the fastest 200. It just got a little bit too far back. But look, gate 4 looks ideal, and coming back to this class, the horse is absolutely lethal. So it goes on top for me. From 14, which is Machino Miss. Incredibly hard to knock what this horse has been doing so far this preparation. The last 3 starts, it's recorded strong figures, and its turn of foot over the last 600 and 400 has been outstanding. It should handle tempo, it just will be quite far back in this field. Third pick is the 3 Nelson's Flight, who returned with a really good performance on a big tempo, got itself into a sweet spot, and I'm expecting it to be able to bounce forward and settle in the first 2 runners here from the wide gate. And then fourth pick is 5 Bushfire Blonde, who wasn't necessarily suited their last start, 3 wide without cover. It was a little bit slow away. Gate 2 and Jared Noski jumping on board is a really interesting move for this horse. It just seemed to peak their last start, but the overall figure was really good, especially coming into a race like this. On top in race 7 is 1 Settlers Creek from 14 Machino Miss, 3 Nelson's Flight and 5 Bushfire Blonde. That brings us to the last race, race 8, jumping at 450. It's the Crown Perth Handicap over 1,200 metres, and we'll have a look at the most recent trial of Neurological.
Likewise going to go right down the outside of the track, and nearer the inside was First Affair, but down the straight, Neurological is coming out after Beat the Devil. Now going to go starting to bear down, then Taxigano, but still Beat the Devil just in front of Neurological. Beat the Devil doing enough from Neurological, and Beat the Devil will win from Neurological. Third gunner.
It's an outstanding race to finish the card. There's probably about 10 horses that could win, and you may not still find the winner, but Neurological's trial was outstanding. It was under a bit of a hold, seemed to come back to the field and just let go late. If we go back to some of the horses' performances, their last preparation for Martin Allen, it went to a completely different level. It's now a real weapon in grades like this, and it should be able to use a strong turn of foot off tempo, and look, gate 3 looks perfect for it. So for me, I'm going with Neurological on top from the 16 Free Trade, who gets the tongue tie on. It's just had the 1 trial since we've last seen it, and that was a very quiet trial indeed. Chris Parnham had the horse in a sleeper hold going into the straight. The wide gate is a slight concern, but if you can find the front or sit outside in the breeze, the horse itself has to be respected. It's recording really strong figures. Third pick is the 12 Thard. It's only had the 1 start so far in WA, but it's coming off a really nice trial. If we go off its Eastern States form, this looks a really suitable race in terms of the expected tempo and the position it gets to in running. And fourth pick is the 14, which is Double Bubble. I'm prepared to forgive the horse last start. It was on a particularly heavy track, which I'm not sure is suitable, despite the horse being able to handle soft weather. But it was just a little bit slow away and seemed to miss stride a few times. So I'm not sure if that basically put a dent into the horse a little bit late. If you can find the front here from gate 9, I think it'll be better suited. On top in the last is 4 Neurological from 16 Free Trade, 12 Thard and 14 Double Bubble. Best bets at Belmont, race 4, number 2 Gatting, race 5, number 12 City Circle. That's all for us here at Perth Racing. If you'd like to keep up to date, follow us on social media or check out our website. Until next time on the box seat, I'm Pete Anthonus. Good punting and go well.